Hello, welcome to another edition of the Home Professionals Network. I'm your host, Sean Williams, and we're coming to you with a very special guest. Corey Johnson will be here with us in just a few minutes. For those of you who are just now coming in for the first time, I kind of want to tell you what the show is all about. We're a group of home professionals from various aspects of the real estate world that's coming to you to help you to make decisions about home buying, selling, refinancing, getting your homes ready for sale. Whatever you have questions about real estate, we're here for you to help you to get through it. And that's why we're the Home Professionals Network. Today we have a very special guest, Corey Johnson is here with us, and we're going to get right to Corey. There he is right there. We got Corey. Corey is very well known in the community. He was a county commissioner. He was mayor pro tem. And he also owns First Choice Home Inspections, which is why I'm bringing him to you on the Home Professionals Network. So without any further ado, we got a lot of information to go over. Let's bring on Corey Johnson. Hey, Corey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Sean, how are you today?
Doing good. We tried to get this audio together, and we made it.
Yeah, man, we here.
Yeah, to get started,
here, man. It's a good thing, good day, man.
Yeah.
Excited to be on the show, man, and get back at it and start trying to educate and inform people on home buying and selling. The importance of home inspection and also the construction piece of it.
Right. Now, tell my listeners a little bit of something about you. Tell us about Corey Johnson, and then tell us about First Choice Home Inspections.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think you said a little earlier today. That's a little bit about myself. I'm also married to Shalita, and together we have 5 boys, and 2 grandboys. Reproducing man, numbered men. So hopefully we can change this world, man, and continue to do great things.
Good. To jump right into it to talk about the home buying aspect of it, very important question. And I have some customers that ask me this while they're trying to buy a home. Why should I get a home inspection?
Well, that's a good question, Sean. Why shouldn't you? Let me say this. If you buy a car,
right.
what? A lot of times you find more things and more issues with a new home than you do an existing home. One thing to look out for is so you tend to see your property or your home shift a little bit, and it may shift a little bit, it may shift a lot. And what I mean by that is when it settles, once the ground and the earth starts to settle, then the home begins to settle, and you become very familiar with seeing things like hairline cracks and things like that in your ceiling and in your walls. Sometimes you can see it in your foundation, such as garage floors and even inside your house on your foundation. Especially on concrete slab foundations, so a monolith. on that property or within the house. So you typically see that from time to time. But if a house has been there for 5 to 10 years, then it's pretty much been selling. So you're less likely to see these type of things happen. You need to get an inspection because you want to make sure that if these things are in fact are occurring, you're aware of it. But you want to make sure things like your HVAC, which is a very expensive investment to replace, those things you know the status of it. So in other words, most HVAC systems last anywhere from 15 to 30 years. If it's a complete pack system, which is everything is outside, those units normally last you about 15 years. If it's a split unit, meaning you got a furnace inside, you got your condenser outside, you got about 30 years out of that system. Now, the condenser itself can last about 15 to 20 years, but the entire system, a lot of times, you get about 25 to 30 years. So those are things that you want to know. You want to know about the roof. Okay, most roofs last 25 to 30 years. Depends on what type of shingles you have. You have 3 tab, which is your standards. You normally get about 20 to 25 years. If it's architecture shingles, meaning it's storm resistant, you normally get about 30 years. But the average roof can cost you about $7,000. So these are things you want to be aware of. But you want to also look for things like mold, asbestos. You want to look for things like termites. These are things that you may not see with the naked eye, but we're trained to go out and look for. And these are things that most people want to be well astute on when they're going into making that investment, whether it's going to be investment property or whether it's going to be property that you're going to live in. You want to know what you're up against. So these are things that prompt inspections done. And so that's why I encourage people, spend $200 to $300 when it costs to get an inspection done because it's well worth it. Even if you go in there and you find $2 grand worth of work that you have to do, it's worth spending that $250, $300. In some cases, $400 to know exactly what you're investing into and how much you may have to spend to get that property up to par.
Corey had a little technical difficulty. I did on my end, not you. You were rolling. All right. Now, next question I got for you, Corey, and I've had people ask me this. Even though the buyer is going to buy a home inspection when they're buying a home, is it a good idea for a seller to get a home inspection before they think about putting their home on the market, even though it's going to be another inspection done?
Absolutely. As I was alluding earlier, if you want to see a home and you want to know exactly what an inspector is going to look for, why not hire an inspector to come out there and tell you? That way you'll be better suited and more equipped to be able to go out there and tackle those things before you put it on the market, and less likely have anything come back on the inspection report when the buyer sends their inspector out there to inspect that property. So case in point, if I know I've been in my house 20 years, I want to downsize, and now I'm looking to sell, then I will hire an inspector to come out there and do an inspection on that property and tell me exactly what they're going to look for and what I need to do to bring that property up to code, or bring it up to par. And then, of course, once I put it on the market, I'm less likely to have any write-ups on that property when the buyers and their inspector out there. And if I do have anything, it would be very minor things that they can say, you know what, it's no big deal. We good with that. It's okay. We don't have to get anything done. Let's go ahead and close the deal. Or if they do find something that be very minor, would cost them to close the deal. So these are things that I tell buyers and sellers all the time. If you're going to sell this property, why not? Why not get an inspection done so you know exactly what you need to do versus putting it on the market and then the buyer send the inspector out there and then you get a whole laundry list of things and can sometimes catch you off guard, and then you're sitting there saying, okay, wow, I didn't know I had to spend $6,000 to bring my house up to par to sell it. So now you're forced with a decision. Do you have $6,000 to put in that property to bring it up to code, or do you sell it at a lesser price? So these are things that you want to try to tackle before you put it on the market, so you can be better suited and better equipped to understand exactly what you need to do and how you need to move forward before you put that house on the market.
Right. And that's very important because a lot of times we've had sellers to get caught off guard with a lot of stuff when they're trying to put their homes on the market. And then we get out there and boom, we got this big hurricane of things coming through that a home inspector will come out and find. And it's not a pretty situation.
Absolutely,
Now,
absolutely.
now I know you went over a lot of stuff that you do cover in a home inspection, but are there different types of home inspections that you can get? Like, if someone was trying to buy a home and they called you up, are there different packages or different levels of a home inspection that they can purchase from you?
Well, let me say this: it's not really a different package. We have folks ask the question, what would an inspection entail? I would say this: our inspections and most inspections are very comprehensive, meaning they cover everything from your roof to your foundation. We're looking at things like your appliances, how they work and function properly. Like I said earlier, we check stuff like your HVAC system to make sure that it's functioning like it should, to let you know exactly the age of it. We check your water heater to make sure that water's getting hot, that you understand exactly how old the water heater is and what the life expectancy of that water heater is. We check things like windows, your insulation and ventilation. We check your attic, and if you do have a crawl space, we check the crawl space. But we also check things like electrical and plumbing. Those are very important things, especially for people that are buying older units. You want to know exactly the status of the plumbing, because what you don't want to have is going in and find you have some bad plumbing in there, and now you got sewer bagging up in your tub or in your toilet. And so now you got to go spend thousands of dollars to hire a plumber to come out and cut all this old cast iron or galvanized drain out. And then not only that, but upgrade your water supply from galvanized or old copper lines to some of the new PEX line or PVC or CPVC. These things are very important, so you'll know exactly what you're dealing with when you make that purchase. Same thing with electrical. I can tell you now, if a house was built before 1990, most of them have what they call two-prong receptacles, and a lot of people update them to three-prong and never ground them. So when you go and check them, you find out all the receptacles in the house are grounded. Things like finding out behind anytime you have receptacles near sinks or water, you want to make sure that they're GFCI controlled, meaning that if something happened and you curling your hair and you have water in the sink and your curling iron fall into the sink of water, it'll trip the breaker and keep you from getting electrocuted. These are things that are very important for people to know when they're purchasing a home. Or case in point, if you're buying a home and you have all these other things in there and you don't have the adequate smoke detectors in there or carbon dioxide detectors, right. These are things you need to know. Most people don't think about that until a fire occurs, but you want to know that your house is well equipped and is safe for you and your family. Case in point, if now the code regulates that you must have smoke detectors in all bedrooms, you may ask why. Well, a lot of times, a lot of fires start in bedrooms. So if that fire started in that bedroom and you don't have a smoke detector, it'll take maybe 3 to 4 minutes longer for that smoke to get out into the hallway or to the upper part of the house where your smoke detectors are located. By that time, someone who's in that room has either suffocated from smoke inhalation, and now they are more subject to die from it versus someone who have a smoke detector in there, which will go off immediately and let them know that, hey, it's a fire or a smoke or somewhere is nearby. So these are reasons why you must check those things to make sure that people understand that and understand what's important and what's safe for them and their families. So these are just some of the things that we check when we go in and do a comprehensive inspection. But if you just say if you're having some issues with the roof and you want to get a roof inspection done, we can come out and check for those things to make sure that you kind of get a better understanding of how many years you have left on the roof, whether or not you have flashing in your valleys like you should. You have drip edge around your fascia boards and things like that prevents water damage behind the fascia, and also in your soffit. We also check foundation to make sure that your structural components are in place. You don't have any shifting piers, no significant cracks in your foundation, and things of that nature. So we do check particular things in there. Now, if you want to get plumbing and things like electrical solely done, then you can call an electrician out. Now, we'll be more than happy to come out and inspect it. But if you want to get it more in depth, you can call an electrician or call a plumber out. But we do offer aspects of our inspection that can be catered to certain parts of your home. And so it kind of give you a better understanding of where you are and what you may need to do if you're going to sell that property, or if you just want to make sure that you're operating within the current codes. So I did an inspection today, and this is the house was built in 1908. Mm-hmm. So of course it's 112 years old. Right. Well, they've done a lot of modifications to this home, and it didn't have any HVAC systems installed. So I immediately told the young lady, I said, look, you got a 100-amp panel box. You're going to have to upgrade that if you're going to install a HVAC system, because it's not strong enough to handle that. So now you got to spend about $1,800 to upgrade your panel box, and on top of what you got to spend to get a new HVAC system installed. So you can be somewhere upward around $8,000 to $10,000 by the time you do both. These are things that people want to know. Okay, so yes, we do cater to different parts of the inspection, but primarily what we do is a comprehensive inspection, and it better equips the the client of what they have and what they're buying and what they may be faced with.
Okay. Now, what's the average cost of a home inspection?
Well, they start at about $250. The average is about $300. And that's 1,500 square foot or less on a concrete slab runs about $250, $275, and then it goes up from there. Depending on square footage, the property, it can run up to about $1,100, $1,200. We've had one property that was about 10,000 square feet. It cost them about $1,100 to get that one inspected. So okay. I mean, it can be pretty expensive, but when you look at the cost of a $10,000, 10,000 square foot property, you're looking at probably $1.5 million. So to spend about $1,100 to $1,200, even $1,500 is just a small portion of what you're investing in this property overall. Now, I know most people might say, well, if you're a millionaire, should it matter? Yes, absolutely. It should matter more because you're spending more of your money into this property. So you want to know exactly what you're investing in. So those are the various ranges. But here in Augusta-Richmond County, most of them range anywhere, like I said, from $250 on average to about $350.
Okay, what if it has like a pool or something like that?
Okay, most pools are addition, okay? If you have a pool, most home inspectors don't really do wells. We do check to make sure that they're working, or septic tanks, but we do recommend that you go out and get a specialist to check those things, in particular if you want to find out more information. Now, like I said, we'll check the functionality of them. We'll check and make sure that it's functioning the way it should. If you have a septic tank out there, we'll notate that, but we'll make sure that we have no plumbing backing up. But we do encourage and advise our clients to go out and hire a septic tank company to come out and further assess that septic tank to make sure that it's not full or it's been serviced within the last 3 years. But we do service pools, not service, but we do inspect pools to make sure that you understand what you're buying and what's at stake with that pool. And the cost for that is $75. Okay. So just out there speaking, if you have a home about 2,500 square feet, with a crawl space and you have a pool, it'll run you somewhere around $375 to $400 to get that done. Okay. So that's pretty much the ballpark of what it costs to get it done. So on average, you spend about $400 to get your home in the pool inspected.
Gotcha. Now, here's something that you and I run into a lot. You come out, you do a home inspection for a client.
Right.
We complete the home inspection, but there's some repairs that need to be done. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I have to call you back out to inspect the repairs. Tell our viewers the importance of that re-inspection.
Well, re-inspections are very important, especially if you find major issues with the project or the property, if you will. Case in point, just say if the HVAC system is not functioning or it's not getting cool and you want to make sure that it's functioning right, then you want to make sure that you call the inspector back out to check it and make sure it's thoroughly working like it's supposed to. Any electrical or plumbing, you want to make sure if you had open grounds or some electrical that wasn't, some receptacles or switches that wasn't working before, or you had some plumbing leaks that were very severe, that need to be changed out, then you will call the inspector back out to come out and re-inspect that particular area to make sure that it's been corrected and it's functioning as it's supposed to. You may ask, what's the price of getting a re-inspection done? It varies. Most re-inspections start at about $100 and they range to about $150. On average, it's about $100 to have a re-inspection done, depending on how far you have to go and how detailed it is to have that re-inspection done, or what would entail in that re-inspection. So case in point, if you have to go out and check electrical, plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, plumbing, and roof, then, on average, it's about $150 to check those things. And of course, it's just time consuming. The inspector have to come back out again and set a schedule, her schedule to come back out and make sure they set aside at least an hour to go out and re-inspect those components in which they found deficiency when they came out of the original inspection. So these are things that are very important, and it's very important, especially if you don't understand, the terminology of it, or you understand the functionality of some of these things and what to check and what to look for to hire your inspector to come back out and re-inspect these items and make sure they function like they're supposed to.
Okay. Now, I bought my house. I've done my home inspection. Now I'm in it. How often should I get a home inspection while I'm living in my home?
Well, it varies. You have some people, once they get the inspection done, the initial time, they never do it again. I encourage people, depending on what they want to plan for in the future, just say if they want to know, okay, how far out am I before I got to replace my roof or replace my air conditioning unit? Get an inspection done every 5 years. That way you can better understand where you are, the condition of your property, and what some of the upcoming things, or housekeeping things that you may need to do in the near future. That way you can start planning and preparing for it financially. We know most of us are not sitting on $10,000 to just invest in our property when something happens. So you want to make sure you better equip yourself in the future. So when those things occur, you have set aside a savings account that would allow you to adequately address these things without worrying about taking out a loan or taking out a second mortgage. So I encourage people, if you don't do it every year or every other year, do it every 5 years. We go get our checkups at least once a year. Some get twice a year on our bodies. So it's the same thing. You want to make sure you stay on top of it. So it don't get to a point where something happened and now you got a terminal illness and now it's not much they can do. Well, the same thing with the house. Unlike your body, they can fix it, but it's going to cost you a lot more than you probably expect to be able to spend out, or can afford to spend out, if you will. So these are things that I encourage most people to do because, again, most of us don't think about our homes until something go wrong. Unlike a car, the same way. Some people don't think about things until something break. But you want to make sure that you're going to get routine maintenance on your vehicle so it don't break down while you're out there. And you want to do the same thing with your home. You want to make sure that you do routine maintenance so these things don't catch you, red-handed. And now you're sitting there trying to figure out how you're going to get it fixed.
Right.
So don't nobody want to be in a hot house in the summertime, and you don't want to be in a cold house in the wintertime. You don't want to be faced with a roof leak when it's raining, or when it's a storm going on. These are things that you want to be on top of. And so if you don't know that shingles got blown off during the last storm and you didn't know about it, and now as a result, you got leaks, which compounded more damage. So now you got sheetrock issues. You got damp insulation in your attic. And now you possibly got mold and mildew. So now you got more of an issue than you would have had if you would have just found out what was going on by doing a routine check on the home to make sure you was aware of these things. And especially in South Augusta, I've seen so many homes out there when we have these windstorms that lose shingles, and most people don't know and not aware of it. And as a result, a year later, they got leaks in the house and they're trying to figure out where it's coming from. So quite natural, you want to make sure you stay on top of these things. And it's important to just think about that, just like you think about your health and your vehicle when you're out there. Get that routine maintenance and make sure you know exactly what you got going on.
Okay. Now, Corey, I have pulled up on my iPad one of your home inspections that you've done for me, and it has different components on it. So for the average person that's coming out getting a home inspection and they get this report, I'm looking on here, it says, you got a little hammer, it says repair, replace. Another one says repair, maintain. One just says maintain, one says evaluate, one says monitor, one says conducive conditions. So kind of tell us how to get through this inspection report, because I see you got some pictures in here as well to correspond with the things you're talking about. But breaking down these different components of an inspection report kind of help us to guide through it and let us know what to expect and what these things mean.
Okay. So hypothetically speaking, if you get something that says replace, repair, that means it may be something that is in despair, and it may be in pretty bad condition, in other words. So you may have to replace that. Most of the time, you do. I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, you do have to replace it. It could be something as simple as some some damaged or rotted wood, okay, that we found around the fascia board or your sulfate. And so you will repair that area, but you will have to replace the wood because of the significance of the damage. But it could also be some water damage, and so it's conducive now because it's creating the moisture in that area of your soffit, okay? And most people are like, where's the soffit? That's your roof edge. That's everything. If you standing up around the bottom of your roof there, and you're standing up close to the house, and you look around the house there, that's your soffit. The fascia is what sits in front of that. And so a lot of times water run behind that and create some significant water damage and cause some wood rot, okay, and deterioration of your wood. So these are things that you will have to replace. You can't repair because the wood is deteriorated. You may have something that say repair maintain. That may be something like let me think of something that would be more low-hanging fruit. It may be something with your HVAC system, okay? You may need to go in and service it and install some Freon. And with that being said, it may be an O-ring that's leaking within that system that's causing Freon, causing you to lose Freon in that system. It's causing it to deplete over a year's time. So these are things that you want to repair, but yet maintain. Have someone come out, service it at least once a year, and make sure that it's maintained, okay? If you have something such as conducive conditions, meaning you may have significant condensation or something like that, whether it be in the crawl space, maybe in the attic, it could be in the house. We've seen areas around water heaters or receiver cores, or some people call it condenser cores in the attic or in your furnace closet, where the furnace core, if it's leaking and it causes some issues within that closet, it will cause conducive conditions, and therefore you will start to develop mold and mildew in that closet. The same thing goes for attics and crawl spaces. Most people don't put vapor barriers in crawl spaces, which is a 6 mil plastic. 6 mil is the thickness of the plastic that covers the floor of the crawl space to keep the moisture down. If you don't do that, you can create conducive conditions under your foundation floor, which is your floor joist and your subfloor. Mm-hmm. And that can cause some conducive water conditions under there that in some instances can deteriorate the floor. So these are things that are pointed out in some instances in inspections that notify the clients exactly what's going on. And it also entails pictures, so you can kind of get a better understanding of what it is versus just reading the terminology, but you can see exactly what we're talking about. But we try to do that to make sure that clients, because most people don't understand this stuff. They don't understand the terminology of it. So if they can see the pictures, they can better understand what it is they're looking at, okay? Most people say light switches, we consider them receptacles, some people say plugs. That's an electrical receptacle, So these are things that are put in different terminologies that most people don't understand. But if they see a picture of it, they better suit it to know exactly what it is you're talking about. So I make sure that I entail pictures in my report, and they're very detailed as far as even pointing out exactly what area that we saw the issues or the area of concern, so they can go exactly to that and know exactly what we're talking about and how to identify that problem.
Yeah, I'm going through the pictures. I'm going through the home inspection right now, and you are very detailed with this. I'm looking at pictures all up in the attic and the crevices and stuff like that, and you're actually pointing out and circling. I'm going to see if I can pull it up. I don't know if they can see the screen or not. Let's see. Give you an example. This one right here. Can y'all see that? This is one that you did for me, and we're talking about a hot water heater. So you're actually pointing out something that actually needs to be done with the hot water heater on this particular property.
Right.
So yeah, it's very detailed, and sometimes you have on here, give you an example for the hot water, you have exactly how many degrees. Let's see what else you got on here. Yeah, it's very detailed. So if I was just to get this inspection report and I didn't know anything about home inspections. I can just really pick this up and just really pick up on what you're saying. So that's a really good job of what you're doing on there. Let's see. Let me get back to my screen real quick. And I had something else pulled up. Now, normally when you come out to do a home inspection, you used to come out by yourself. Now, how many people you got coming out with you now?
Normally, it's me and one other assistant, and I do that because I understand people time are valuable,
Right.
and spend 2 hours, 2.5 hours on the inspection. It could be a lot, and most people are trying to get there during their lunch break, or they're taking some time off to get by, and make sure that they're there to kind of better understand exactly what's going on, or to meet and talk to their inspector. And there's times where, of course, they can't make it, so we want to make sure when they do receive the report that we dumb it down enough that they can understand exactly what they're looking at. And even if they can't, when they see it, like I said before, when they see the pictures, they can say, okay, I got it. Okay, I see what that is now. Okay, so these are things that we try to do to make sure, but we make sure that we get in there, we get the job done, and we get the client out of there as soon as possible, and get them on their way so they can go back to what they were doing, and go about their day or go back to work or whatever it is they need to get done. So typically you will see me and one other person there doing that inspection to make sure we're able to get it done as quickly as possible and not tie the client down. And that's what's unique about what we do. Most inspectors are out there solo, and none against that, but of course it takes so much time, and that's the first thing most people ask me, how long is it going to take? And unlike an appraisal, which take about maybe 20 to 30 minutes, we take at least an hour.
Right.
On average, about an hour and 30 minutes, but an hour to an hour and 30 minutes is about average for us. So we can get it done about 30 minutes to an hour quicker than most inspectors.
Right, and that's good because a lot of times I know that time is of the essence in real estate right now. And you've been pretty
Absolutely.
quick about coming out. And that's the next thing I was getting at. When I've dealt with first choice home inspections, and I've dealt with a lot of home inspectors in the city, one of the things I noticed about you is that you are very easy to work with, very easy to get on your schedule. And after you've done your job, after you've done the home inspection, we've had to go back to the seller and ask for repairs on it. And you've been very instrumental in helping us to come up with the cost of repairs so we can know how much to ask for, if we're taking money, or exactly what we need to put into what we call an amendment to address concerns with the property. And then you've been very good at helping us to construct that.
Absolutely. And as I said earlier, having a background in construction, it better equip me to deal with things, especially like soil erosion.
Mm-hmm.
If you got significant soil erosion going on around the house, knowing exactly about how much it's going to take to fix it, what will it take to fix it, and what you need to do, with guiding the client in the right direction. One thing the client wants to know is they want to be reassured that what they're doing and the investment they're making is going to be a good investment. But they also want to know that it's not going to cost them the bank to be able to do that, and to have somebody to be there to give them adequate information and to be equipped to be able to give them a cost analysis of what it's going to take, versus just guessing it, is very important. And that's the difference in a lot of what you see, especially out there with some of the inspectors out there, because they may not have a background in construction, they may not be more equipped to be able to tell you exactly what it will cost, or even give advice on how to deal with some of these things. They'll write it up and tell you what they think it may be. But, I deal with this stuff day in and day out, and I understand exactly what's in it, what's involved, how much it may cost. Also, whether or not you're making a bad investment. I'll tell my clients straight up, this may not be the investment that you're looking for, because you have no experience in construction, you have no background, you have no access, and we know we have a lot of people moving in from, all walks of life, from different parts of this country, by way of Cyber Command. These folks don't have time for that. They have zero knowledge about construction or doing any work on their homes. So they want to make sure that they know exactly what they're doing, what they're buying, and also what they're up against. In fact, if something is found that need to be addressed. And so to be able to give them that information and be able to be as close as possible to what they may have to do or investigate it addressed is critically important. And so I'm just grateful to be able to do that and be able to offer them that service along with their inspection, so they can be better suited to make a more sound decision and investment in the property they're looking at.
Right, because I've seen you go above and beyond the home inspection, not just do the inspection, hand a report, and you're done. Like you say, you've been there to walk us through amendment to address concerns, re-inspection, all the way up to the closing table, even after someone has purchased their home, have closed and moved into it, and they had to refer back to their inspection report. You've been instrumental in helping them to guide through it and helping them to maintain their homes. And that's what I like about First Choice Home Inspections.
Absolutely. And that's something that I pride myself on. Having a good customer service is the key. I don't care how you look at it. My clientele come from the way I treat my clients. And, we don't do much advertising because we don't have to. People talk about the service we provide. They talk about how thorough we were in the inspection. And we talk about being very knowledgeable, in what we found and what we advise our clients of. And so that speaks volumes. And I know when I take my vehicle somewhere, or I go and spend my money, I want to make sure that I get good customer service. And that's one of the things that most people don't think about when they're in business, that's half the battle, being able to communicate with your clients and be able to do so in a manner that they feel positive, they feel reassured, and they feel very confident, And so that's something that I pride myself in, being a former elected official. I've been able to do that well. We communicate with my constituents, and I do it in business the same way. I give out what I expect, and no more, no less. And so that's critically important. I tell people, you inspect what you expect, and that's something that I try to make sure that I tell the guys that work for me when we go out there and we evaluate properties and doing inspections, or whether we're working on one, make sure you put out what you expect to get back. And so, and that's something that's taken us a long way. And so to be in business 14 years, to make it through the housing meltdown and the housing crisis back in 2008 and 2009, it was extremely tough. We had to resort to other aspects of the construction field to be able to survive, but we made it through. And now we're doing very well now, and I'm grateful to be able to do that and to be able to provide a service for people when they're coming in and making the most important investment of their life.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back to you, Corey. We got Corey Johnson with First Choice Home Inspections. Now, we have a segment that we're going to do. Then we're going to get back to Corey. It's called Ask Your Realtor. I've been getting a lot of questions by email, phone, text message, social media about different various aspects about home buying, selling, all the things that we talk about here on the show. So I do a segment called Ask Your Realtor. So let's take a quick break, go to Ask Your Realtor. We'll be right back with more of Corey Johnson. Hi, I'm Sean, and welcome to Ask Your Realtor, where I'll be asking all of your questions about everything real estate, right here on the Home Professionals Network. First question. I'm just starting to look at homes, and I know exactly what I want. What is the first thing I should do when starting my search? Well, that's a very good question, because we don't want to get out there without doing this. First step, get pre-approved. That is the most important part of this journey that you're about to take in home ownership. You never want to go out there and fall in love with a house that you can't afford. So the first thing you want to do is get a pre-approval letter for your loan officer and get that magic number. That magic number is the max that you can go when we're looking at homes. The second thing I want you to do is get that comfort level number. And that's the number of how much you're willing to pay per month. Let me give you an example. You may be approved for a $300,000 house, but for the amount that you want to pay per month, you may only want to look at $225,000. And that's what I call that sweet spot. That's where I want to take you and find your home. Because here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to think about the money. I want you to think about taking your family in, showing them where you want to live, and you are finding that one special home that you actually want to buy and call that home. And now, when we get pre-approved and we have that comfort level number, we don't have to think about the money. All we have to do is write that contract. And that's this edition of Ask Your Realtor. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and subscribe to notifications so you can catch the next episode of Ask Your Realtor. See you next time. I hope y'all like that segment. We do those all the time. I come into the office and film them. I do them while I'm out in the field working. I get questions all the time, and once I get a question, I go straight to the camera. I film them and I save them so I can broadcast them for you on here. And on YouTube, you can always go and check them out, so you can try to go through the tips, and you may find a question that answers some of the ones that you have yourself. If not, you can always hit me up on social media. We're going to come back with Corey Johnson. Corey, you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, Sean.
All righty. I went to a segment called Ask Your Realtor where I answer a lot of questions, so we got that done real quick. Corey, now, how far in advance would you need to do a home inspection if we need you to come out? How far in advance would someone need to call you?
Well, we ask at least 48-hour notice. In most cases, we're able to facilitate that. Some cases we can't, depending on the part of the year it is. During peak season, a lot of times we book up pretty fast. So sometimes we may be a week out. But we do ask for at least 48-hour notice. And, the operating hours are normally 9 to 4:30 because, again, we don't like to go no later than 4:30 because of the time frame it takes to do the inspection. So we try to be done about 6 o'clock to be out of the way, especially during where we have less daylight, and during the fall. We definitely try to stop about, taking our last appointment about 4 o'clock. During the summer, we can go a little bit later if need be. I mean, we have done the latest 5:30. We typically try to be done by 6 to 6:30 in the afternoon. But at least 48-hour notice. And then if you need to reschedule or something come up, for some apparent reason you need to cancel, we ask for at least 24 hours. We've had clients that had to cancel, and we just like to know that in advance. So if somebody is called about an inspection and they need to get one done and we can't get to them on that date, but someone called and cancel and we're able to do so, we like to be able to call that customer up and say, look, we can move you up a little, closer because we know you're on the time crunch and with due diligence period, sometimes you only have 7 days to get that inspection done. So we try to make sure that at least we have a 24-hour notice if reschedule need to be done or cancellation need to be done.
Okay. Now, if someone wants to get in touch with you, I'm going to pull some of your contact information and put up on the screen. How can they schedule with you?
Well, they can always call us. Or appointment to get an inspection done. And you can always follow us on Facebook at First Choice Inspector. A lot of times people are inboxes on Facebook and say, look, I need to get an inspection done. Do you have any time available on this particular date? Or do you have any time available at the end of the week or the beginning of next week? So just depending on when you need to get it done, we have multiple facets to be able to get in touch with us and be able to make sure that you have enough time to be able to get your home inspection scheduled. Like I said, we do well with trying to accommodate the time frame for most folks. It is times when we can't do it, and especially most instances within a 24-hour time frame from the time you call. A lot of times it's hard to maybe get out there to get the inspection done. But in most cases, if you give us at least a 48-hour notice, we're able to get to you and be able to get the report done. A lot of people ask, well, how long does it take to get the inspection report back? Well, if we do the inspection today, you'll have it by tomorrow morning, okay? If it's on a weekend, hypothetically speaking, if we do it on a Friday, you'll get it by Monday morning, okay? So normally it's a 24-hour turnaround, but on the weekend, you'll get it by that Monday morning because most people are not doing business during the weekend. So that's typically a turnaround time to get it done. And so with that being said, you get a copy of it, your realtor get a copy of it, and then from there you can come up with your list and send it to the sellers to make sure that you guys ask for whatever it is we found in the report to get it repaired.
Okay, sounds good. Now, last question for you, Corey. Why should someone call, not just to get a home inspection? Why shouldn't a person get a home inspection, but why should they call Corey Johnson at First Choice Home Inspections?
Well, again, my background is in construction. We've been doing it over 20 years. We've been in business over 14 years, so we will equip. We've done thousands of home inspections, so we're better suited and understand exactly what to look for. But our customer service is second to none. What we do and how we treat our clients is extremely important. That's why we have repeat clients. We have folks call us back time and time again. If they found a house and it don't work out, they call us back out to do another inspection. We take care of them. If they're investing in properties and they want to go out and know exactly what they're investing in and what they're buying, how much they're going to put in it before they put it on the market to rent, they call us back. So we have plenty of repeat clients, and we take pride in that, and they take pride in making sure that they have somebody they can trust. And that's the more important